Hello everyone. Welcome to this course Information and Database Management Systems. My name is Dr. Anukriti Bansal and I will be one of your instructor for this course. So in this course we will first understand, if you will see, the title itself contains some of the terminologies like data, database, information and their management. So in this course, we will first start with understanding the concepts related to data, information, database, and then we will learn how to capture this information or data, how it can be represented efficiently so that it can be retrieved, modified, and communicated in very efficient manner. Okay. So this is the learning objective of this course. I am first discussing the CIF and later we will start with the formal topics. So this is the basic learning objective of this course, and by the end of the course you will be able to uh, understand what are the different issues in design and implementation of database. Okay. And what do we understand by relational data models and how we can represent it so that all these tasks like retrieval, storage, updation and communication, all these things can be done very efficiently. Okay. So these are there is a typo, it's not the course outcomes, these are course topics. The course topics taken from your CIF. So first we will understand some concepts related to information management. Okay. And then once we understand in the information management, we will understand like how information is captured, how it can be accessed, what are various uh, terminologies related to information management. Once we have basic idea, then we will talk about database management system, which is a set of softwares which help us in proper organization of data as well as information. Okay. And in the third unit, which is data modeling, it is like representation of data. And as this course proceeds, we will talk about relational databases, transaction processing, query languages, and other concepts related to efficient retrieval and searching. Okay. So this Navathe will be your main textbook. All the slides which I will be preparing would be based on this book. And there are other good books as well, like Korth. It is also one of the very good book. You will find the practical problems or the practical case studies related to data and database management system in Raghu Ramakrishnan as well. So you can consider this book as well. And in your CIF, which has been shared on Google Classroom, in that book there are other references as well, like online lectures, online courses of NPTEL and MIT. So you can refer to those sources as well. Now come to the evaluation part. In your in this course, 25% weightage will be given to your lab evaluation and 75 is your theory part. In lab evaluation, the 5% will be the continuous evaluation. It can be your assignments, practical assignments in the lab, or quizzes. Then 5% weightage, like 5 marks will be of midterm, 5 will be of end term, and there will be a project related to this practical aspects and practical issues and their implementation of database management system. So this this will have the weightage of 10%. Now this project can be done in groups. The minimum team size will be 2, and the maximum team size can be 4 students. Okay, we will not allow the project teams of more than 4. Now this is all about lab part. Now let's come to theory part. So in theory there will be like 3 quizzes, each of 8 marks. In these quizzes there will be no makeup in any case. So there will be just 3 quizzes and no makeup. Then 21% weightage is given to your midterm examination, and 30% weightage will be given to your final examination, end term. So this is all about evaluation policy, evaluation scheme. Now let's start from the formal introduction of this subject, DBMS. So when it contains IDBMS, information and database management system. So let's first talk about data. What do we understand by data? So data is known facts that can be recorded and have some implicit meaning. Okay, now anything can be considered as data. These days we are surrounded by data. So if we are speaking something, it can be captured, it can be recorded, it can be digitized. We have digital devices these days, and anything, your speech, your gestures, everything can be captured in digital devices. Okay, so we can have different type of data. We have, when we are speaking, this is your verbal data, speech. Your video, it's a sequence of images, this is a type of data. If you're writing something, if you're typing something, those numbers, alphabets, this can be a data. Anything, everything is like, we are surrounded by data. Another thing is, if you use smart watches, so it is recording your steps, capturing and recording your heartbeat. Okay, this is also data. So there are different kinds of sensors around us these days. Many type of sensors all around us. Even your mobile phones, they are also capturing your steps. Okay, and these are your data. Another example, the most common example you use these days is your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So what kind of data it is generating? A single user, like how many users are there? If we talk about a single user, apart from the personal information, if the user is posting something, Facebook user is posting something, so this is one of the data. and how many people have seen that post, how many people have liked this post, when this post was posted, when this photo or anything was posted. So all these information related to a single user and can is a data, and we, by this example, we can understand that how massive is this data which is getting generated every second. So, and most of these data these days can be converted into digital format. We have digital devices, we have laptops, your smart watches. Instead of analog watches, we have digital watches these days which can capture different kind of information. So these information can be stored digitally. Okay, and who is creating this data? Everyone, whether if it's a business houses, these are non-business houses, NGOs, every user individual is creating data. Okay, so these are some of the examples, like videos, photos, books, letters, everything. Okay, now once we have data, we can categorize them into structured and unstructured data. Structure means it has a proper structure, it is represented in a particular form. Like in a tabular form, data can be represented. So example of the structured data is your databases, which we will talk what do we mean by databases. And another example which you all have seen is your spreadsheet or MS Excel. So it has a proper structure, like it is arranged in a tabular format which has rows and columns. Okay, so searching some information from this structured data is comparatively easier. When we talk about MS Excel, which has rows which and columns, the data is arranged in form of rows and columns, and every row represent a unique information related to a single entity, or I can say item. When we talk about student records, so this single row contains information related to a single student. Okay, searching or getting information and modifying these kind of data which is arranged in a particular structure is comparatively easier. Okay, we don't need to look at each and every character, we don't have to parse through each and every character in case of structured data. So data can be unstructured as well, like images, forms, audio, movies. There is no set format of these kind of data. So if you want to search any information, the very good example is in your mobile phone you have a gallery which contains multiple different kind of images. Now these images, photos, can be something which you have clicked of some plants maybe, or some scenery, some event you have recorded. And these days it's also a common practice, like suppose someone some number is there which is written, or some address is written somewhere. Instead of noting it down, what you do, you will just click it. Okay, now you have suppose 1000 2000 images in your gallery, and you want to now search at that particular you want to retrieve the image which contains the address. Now retrieving or searching that information cannot be done until and unless you go through each and every image yourself manually. So there is no structure in these images. and you have to, and searching, representation and modification is comparatively not that efficient. Okay, these days over 80% of information is unstructured, and we have seen that what is easier for us, which method would be easier if we want to search for any particular information. Then searching in MS Excel would be easier as compared to your forms, where you will have to look into each and every character. If you are looking for a particular kind of information, then you have to look into each and every character or word, or if it has different categories, you have to look into each and every categories. You have to read it manually. So it is always better to provide a proper structure and store data in form of tables, I can say. So or I can say the group related data can be put together in a tabular format. This will constitute your database. Okay, and in this course we will learn how we can represent this, how we can create these databases, how we can modify these databases, manage these databases. Okay, so it provides us better way to search any information. Now continuously I am saying that information, data, is there any difference or both are same thing? So there is a difference. When we talk about data, it's just raw facts. These are just raw facts which are captured as it is. Like if we talk about this our LNMIT, if we say that there is a student whose name is XYZ, some ID, marks, branch. So this is like data. Now once I have stored this data, and I can get some information out of it, like how many students are there who have marks above 80, and what is the performance of this student. If I am able to get some information out of it, if I can get, if I can give some value to that data, and I can get some output, and it depends on organization to organization. If we talk about LNMIT, and if we talk about data related to students, so there can be multiple information which can be derived. Okay, so we do some processing on this these raw facts, and then it is converted into information, okay, that have some value beyond the individual facts. So if I talk about a student example, student has obtained marks so and so, it does not provide me some other additional information. Then if we talk about, okay, the performance, those who have obtained marks above this, then they have decent performance, that it gives me some information about the teaching learning capabilities of an organization, okay, which involves both teachers and students. So this is information. Here are another example of the processes which are involved in converting data into information. So there is a long document. That document is a data, because these are the actual facts which were recorded. Now what could be information? What is the gist of that document? I may not need to, every word, every sentence may not be useful for a particular application. So summary can be helpful for me. Whether I want to go read, if you want to select any course, you first see, okay, you don't need to check each and every topic of the CIF. You will get to know, okay, overview, what you will learn in this course, okay, and accordingly you can choose a particular subject. You can out of multiple elective courses, okay. So this is the information you are getting out of it. So, and other, I like graphing. If there is a large amount of data, if I represent it in form of graphs, it is easy to interpret it, okay. So this is like how we are converting data into information. It can be considered as organized or processed form of data, okay. So there are other definition from multiple sources, like the data which can be which is easy to interpret and understand by the user or recipient, and which adds some value to the data, so that it helps us in decision making and further course of actions. So it is information. Now what are your information resources? So information resources, you have records, you have text, you have multimedia. So what this video contains, what this person is doing in an image. So you have different forms where you can get the information. You can get the information out of simple data. You can get the information out of simple multiple text files, records, and multimedia, which contains sensors, your images, videos, everything, okay. So from these things you can get the information. So these days, what are the sources, what are the corpuses which provides us information? So we have files. If I'm writing some application, so I can store it in files. I can store them in, if I want to record the marks of students, of all these students, then, and their grades, I can create a Excel file and record this information there. So then group of related, I can say the collection of related data is your database. So this is collection of related data. Now we will talk about database and database management system in great detail in coming classes, but let me here give you an overview, a broad picture of database and database management system, so that it would be easier for you to understand the further topics. So we have seen that data is your known facts or raw facts, I can say, that can be recorded. Then what is database? So it is collection of related data. Now suppose you have a name, telephone number, address of some persons, okay, maybe your friends. So this is the data. What is the name, what is the telephone number and address. This is data. Now you have organized this data in the indexed address book, like all the names starting with A are stored somewhere, then B, and so on. Or you can use Excel file to store this information, name, telephone number and address, and that address file, that Excel file here can be considered as your database. And this raw information, the facts, can be considered as data. Okay. Now this database can contain multiple data files as well. So let's suppose we have information of student. So this is our data. Now the information related to all the students who belong to CSE or particular branch are arranged in a tabular format in form of tables. So from data, the raw data we have arranged in form of tables, rows and columns. Now then we can have database which can constitute all these tables. So it will be student database which contains tables related to all students, and these tables are, I have organized or created these tables on the basis of student branch. It can be done on the basis of year. Okay, so that is a design perspective which we have to consider, and we will talk about it later on. So this is one way, and once I have created these tables, group of these tables related to all students can be considered as a student database. Then we have faculty information as well. Okay, so faculty, the information can be stored in form of a table, a single table, that can be again called as a database. Okay, and we need some programs or softwares to create these databases and modify these databases. These programs or softwares are called as your DBMS. So yeah, collection of programs is called as database management system. So what is DBMS? It is collection of programs to create and maintain database. Okay, and this database and DBMS is called as database system. Okay, so what are these? So these databases also provide us information. Okay, emails, we communicate using emails these days. Instant messaging, your WhatsApp, you share information on WhatsApp. Okay, and information can be what are the modes in which you can share information on WhatsApp? It can be text, it can be your audio, video, image. Okay, so there are multiple ways, and it can be done in real time. And similarly, we have like electronic publishing, like you have blogs, you have brochures, you have books, and so on. So all these comes under the information corpus we have. Now, why we need to store information? So we have already seen that at present time information is created how much information, how much data is created at every second, I can say millisecond. Okay, now this data, we have to extract information and store this information, which help us in deciding the future course of action. Okay, so this has to be done efficiently. If we talk about these Amazon, so you purchase a product, and why this information has to be like stored properly, so that next time you visit Amazon, it can recommend the items of your choice. Okay, and it can also link, like if you are purchasing, suppose chips, so the probability of you purchasing some soft drinks is also high. So it help us in designing and placing these items on website and providing recommendation. It help the business grow. Okay, why information regarding student has to be maintained, we can decide what how these topics are relevant in the present era. Are these topics which we are being taught to students relevant or not? And suppose the information regarding, okay, the student is like good in theoretical programming concepts, but not very good in case of like practical aspects of programming, coding. Okay, so the college may need to decide what actions has to be taken, so that is there any changes which are required in the CIF, or some different mode of teaching may be introduced. Okay, so all these things, this information has to be stored properly, so that future uh, course of action can be taken. Okay, and this information storage and its management is a big challenge. We just don't want to store it. Okay, we want that in future, if we want to retrieve some uh, information from this huge corpus, it should be very efficient, it should not take much time. So this comes under management, like how we are storing this information. Okay, and another challenge in storing these information or managing this information is the protection and optimization. Like it should not have unauthorized access, the information should not have unauthorized access. We have also if you are aware, there was a very like incident reported on all news channels and on newspapers as well, that Facebook has stolen personal information of users. Why this is a big thing? Because in on social networking sites, we are sharing lot amount of information. We are commenting on different posts. It give us like what are our inclination, what kind of post influences us, what kind of people influences us, because on Twitter we follow certain people, we tweet, in Instagram we also follow certain kind of people. It gives some information related to our inclination, our choices, the influencers which influence our mind. Okay, so if we steal information of large number of users, election campaign can be compromised, or I can say we can control election campaign, like how to, and we can also decide uh, who will vote whom, and how these votes can be changed, how these influenced, these peoples can be influenced, so that instead of voting for person A, they vote for person B. Okay, that's why this when we talk about information management, since it's a huge information, its storage is a big challenge, then protection is again a big challenge. There should This is unauthorized uh, protection from unauthorized access, and also if we are storing it on one device only, then its failure, what will failure of that device, it could be like there is a fire, earthquake, so that we have lost that system. So information, this huge information, important information, will also be lost. So we need to keep redundancy. We have to store this information on multiple devices, and it should be like same information is getting stored. And its optimization, we have already discussed that if we are searching, retrieving these information, it should not take much time. If we are updating some information, it should be in a constrained amount of times. And it should also have some future uh, perspective into account, like in future data will grow. So if whatever uh, mode I am using for information management, will it handle the future increase in that corpus. So that also has to be taken care of. Now these are different types by which information can be represented. If you talk about Amazon.com, there are different categories like books. There is a category books, and there are subcategories as well, like sci-fi kind of books, or autobiographies. Okay, so these are different categories in which information is represented. Equations, neural networks. Now what do we understand by this neural network? Because in neural networks we create a model. We have some input and we learn a model, and this model can be used for further classification or any other task, prediction, anything. Now what is this model? Let's understand this with an example. Suppose I want to design a system which can which can tell me whether this fruit is apple, this fruit is banana, or so on and so forth. Okay, so I want to design a system which can provide me the information or the name of a particular fruit. So how can I represent this information? One information is I can just create different I can say attributes of I can manually extract these attributes, like if color of a fruit is yellow, its shape is round, or it has a particular shape, its texture is smooth, its surface is shiny, then it could be apple. If it has a elongated shape, color is yellow, surface is smooth, then it could be banana. One possibility is this. Another is it provides a representation, like all apples which may be of red color or green color, I have represented these fruit in some manner, some numerical representation I have created. Okay, so that whenever new fruit comes, I can identify it as apple, banana, pineapple, or whatever. Okay, so this information can be represented in form of neural network or models. Okay, then the statements which can be audio or my handwritten statements, these are also means this is also how I represent information. So suppose you are making notes of this lecture, so at some point of time, this you don't need to write or need to see the complete video. You have your notes, and that is the information in your own handwriting. Then we have logical statements, images, where and by which we can represent information. Now this is like how it is represented. Another is like how we are collecting this information. So collecting the information, it can be collected in form of paper documents, forms, or e-documents, where instead of writing you are so how what is this manual process? So first I'll write certain things. Either I keep these I maintain the manual record of these paper documents, this is also information. Or if I talk about digital information, I can scan these paper documents. Okay, so information can be stored digitally in form of images, scanned images. Another is that I am typing in MS Word and I am storing it somewhere. So that is your digital information. Okay, and that digital information can be stored in form of databases, so that it is easier for use, day-to-day use. So different organizations have like different provisions for capturing this information. If we talk about our MIS, what we do, teacher manually faculty members manually enter marks. Okay, so entering marks is manual, but then this system can automatically, we have written some programs, so then it can automatically calculate mean, standard deviation, and also calculate grades for each and every student. Okay, so it is can be manual, it can be automatic, and it can be a combination of both. So I can say in case of MIS, I am entering the data manually, but information is getting generated automatically. Capturing information capture is manual, but then it is a combination of both. So yeah, these are some of the methods, manual methods, which we have already discussed, like when faculty members enter grade marks of each student. It can be a manual method, it can be automatic method as well. One example is automatic optical character recognition. What do we understand by optical character recognition? So what happens is, suppose there is a document, okay, and it is some text, suppose newspaper image or book page. So something is written on this document, on your book. Okay, now you want to save it for your future reference and not as a paper document. So what you will do, you will take a picture of it. So now this document is a text is written, but it's a photo image. Now if I want to search this image or search some text in this image, it's not possible. Okay, so what happens is, I pass this image to a OCR, which is optical character recognition. It localizes like where this text is written, and it converts it into digital format. So suppose if somewhere IDBMS was written, it was image, after passing it to OCR, this IDBMS will be digital. Digital means you can search in these documents. If I don't know, you all are too young, but earlier if you have gone through some books over internet, there are certain books on which searching or selecting a particular sentence is not possible because there are scanned versions. So they are images, okay. But otherwise on all PDF versions of documents or books, you can search, highlight, copy, and can do every stuff, okay. So what Adobe has done is, Adobe has like converted earlier, it had so many scanned versions of books, and then it had converted into this digital copies by putting them through OCR, okay. So this is one of the application. Intelligent character recognition can be considered as advanced version of OCR, where you can it can also identify your handwritten documents, okay. What is written in your human handwriting, it can also identify that. Optical mark reading, this OMR sheet, you all have given your JEE examination where a OMR sheet is given to you, where there are 4 circles and you have to fill the circles respect to correct answer, correct option, okay. Now how this help is that instead of manually checking and calculating the score of a particular candidate or student, what can be done is we just pass it to OMR scanner and it just check the filled circles and calculate grades accordingly. So this is automatically we are capturing the information. So this MICR again is it is, if you see your checks, it is used in banking industry. So in every check there is a MICR code, okay. So it help us in it help in the banking industry, like what's the amount, and every information regarding the check can be stored automatically. Smart cards we have already used. These days your credit cards are also becoming smart. You don't have to type the pin if some transaction is made up to rupees 2000. So you just tap it and the balance will be deducted from your account. So this is one of the examples of smart cards. Then web data capture, we are using websites and voice recognition. Automatic voice recognition is there. Then we have like information processing. So we have this information. Now when we have this information stored, what thing can be done is we can efficiently retrieve out of this huge amount of information. If we want specific information, that information can be obtained. And recognition, so identifying a particular instance, that means if you have a image, okay, and you want to recognize which person is this, or how, if that photograph contains 4 persons, you want to identify who is who, okay. So that can be done, that processing can be done, and that identification can be done, and you can get some output or some inference out of this stored information. And these days we can access this information which is stored somewhere in the database by searching, linking. We can click on a link and we can get the information out of it. We can browse to multiple websites, multiple sources, and we can go from one link to another. We can navigate from one link to another or one website to another. So that is how information can be accessed. So I'm stopping this class here, and we will discuss a little more aspects related to information system in the next class. And so that's all for today's class.